The red one. I don't know what to write. 9 years ago, my wife had an affair. I can't wrap my mind around it. The room feels like it's spinning all the time. My marriage is a lie. I found out a week ago. I can't even look at her. It was the worst time in our lives and she was running around with some guy. I don't know what to do. I will never look at her the same. How could she do this? She didn't confess. A picture came up on Amazon Photo Memories. She confessed after I saw it. I have spent 20 years with me wife, 16 of those married. I'm 38 and my wife is 35. She is 35 weeks pregnant and we have a 3 and 4-year-old. She didn't ever plan to confess. She claims her therapist instructed her not to tell me as long as the affair was over. I don't trust a word she says. I don't want her around me. I want to tell her to leave for a few days, but I don't think I can legally do that. Perhaps I am out of line, but I don't think I should be the one to leave the house. The timing is horrible. She has been in the hospital 3 times in the last 8 days for pregnancy-related issues caused by stress. She has never made it to 40 weeks. She has prolonged labors, and the last thing I want to do right now is support her through that for days. How does custody even work with a newborn? I don't know what I want to do. I didn't think of DNA testing my kids. If she's telling the truth, I wouldn't have to. That will bother me for the rest of my life now. She told me her story. Do the details matter? It involves a part of our life that I don't enjoy talking about. The details make it worse. I can't see how I could ever forgive her for what she did. It was also 9 years ago and we had many happy years prior and after. We are closer and stronger in recent years than we ever have been. I don't know what to do. All the work we put into our marriage feels like a lie. We spent years in therapy to stay together, but she didn't have any intention of saying she had an affair. Everything we overcame feels like a lie. In 2010 we lost 2 children. They were the only kids we had at the time. We buried our children and my wife was sleeping with another man while we were supposed to be mourning. Our daughters passed away in February and March 2010. My wife started an affair in May 2010. She thinks it lasted 6 to 7 months. That was the worst time in our lives. I don't understand how she could betray me like that. I don't understand how bonding was even on her mind, let alone sleeping with another man. I don't understand how she could damage our lives more. I don't understand how she could add to the hurt. I didn't think life could ever get worse. I didn't see a point in living any longer, and she was having the time of her life sleeping with another guy. I don't get it. The affair was with a guy she works with. They still work together, and because of that I'm struggling to trust her story. They work directly together on a team of 4 people. She spends 8 hours a day with him. She is on mat leave now and will be taking 18 months off topped up to full pay, Canada. She's on contract and will have to go back. I don't know if that can be changed at this point, as her position has been filled temporarily and she signed a contract. I don't know if he's married or not. I don't want to have to talk to my wife to ask. She said the affair lasted 6 or 7 months and was only bonding. She didn't love him or want a future with him. She ended it. She's carrying my child and I hate her right now. Now I'm always going to wonder if our first and second born are my kids, and there is no way to know. I can DNA test my living kids. What am I going to do if they are not mine? I was there when they were born. I raised them. I'm on the birth certificates. I don't want to raise some other guy's kids. I don't want to lose my kids either. Our DNA test's easy to do. All my wife does is cry and say she will do anything. What can she possibly do to fix this? She betrayed me in the worst possible way and in the worst possible time. She claims she has felt guilty ever since doing it and was afraid I would find out one day. She claims her therapist told her not to tell me because it would put her pain onto me to alleviate her guilt. What therapist would say that? She could go into labor any day. I don't want to even be there, but at the same time I do. I want to be there for my child, but not for my wife. How would I ever forgive her? She destroyed our marriage and all of the work we put into it. What kind of person cheats in the midst of tragedy? Her parents live 10 minutes away. I want to ask her to go there for a while. I don't want to look at her or hear her voice. The picture was of her sleeping with someone, and I wasn't the male in it. I don't want to be overly graphic. There is no way she took the picture based on the angle. Her tattoo is visible, so there is no denying it's her in the picture. I searched through them all and couldn't find any more. She said she thought she deleted them all after he took them. She uploaded all of our old pictures to the drive a few months ago, and that one must have been in the mix. I don't trust her story because she works with him. She is with him 5 days a week. I don't know what to think because she doesn't hide anything from me. Her cell unlocks when connected to home internet. I know the code and my fingerprint is saved on it. She doesn't lock her computer or tablet. Her laptop has my fingerprint on it. I frequently use her phone. I know all of her passwords. Our marriage has been better than ever. The only texts to him were about work. I've texted him for my wife when she was driving. Is there a way to find out if he's married without asking my wife? I didn't find him on Facebook. What is the reasoning behind telling friends and family about the affair? Some do know. I don't know if that should be public knowledge. His face wasn't in the picture. It was taken looking down at my wife. I just realized that it could be any white guy and not necessarily who she says it was. The guy's arm was visible and he had a sleeve. That will identify him to his wife if he has one. My wife said who it was. She could have lied about who it was. I don't know why she would have. She said the affair was an escape. The only escape I was thinking of at that time was X myself. Bonding isn't as escape. She deleted the picture after I saw it but didn't clear it from the trash folder. I have it saved. I can text or call her mom or dad tomorrow and tell them to come get her. I could tonight, but it's late now. It might give me 2 weeks of peace before she goes into labor. Is it too much if I follow the guy home from work to see where he lives? He works the same shifts as my wife, so I know when he gets off. It is a little early, but if she goes into labor soon, I don't know how I'm going to be supportive. Our babies all came at 37 and 38 weeks, so it will be soon. All of her labors have been 5 days. They are bad at the best of times. That is a long time to pretend nothing is wrong. I don't want to talk to her or touch her. For a baby that may not be mine, I'm going to have my friend look into the guy for me. I doubt it'd take long to get basic info. I hesitate to call her parents right now because I don't want to embarrass her or make a small scene. That's the point though, isn't it? If she has cheated her whole adult life, would that not have come out by now? We have never kept devices private from each other. I'm her only relationship. She hasn't been raped or abused. Her parents are hyper-religious. They wouldn't condone her cheating. She is close with them and they will support her, but she'd be in for a lot of lectures and disappointment. My wife said no one knows aside from the therapist she told and a doctor when she had an STD test, which was negative. Am I looking for specific apps? Her phone is near me right now. She leaves it laying around. I'm not sure how it works in the US, but here birth certificates are not filled out at the hospital. It's done online at home whenever the parents get around to it. I could do a DNA test before filling it out. I googled it, and unless I want court admissible, they are easy and fast. My parents and 2 of my closest friends know. I told them. She said she didn't tell any friends or family. I can't think of a time I'd ever prevent consequences. I don't want to make a rash decision. I'll call her dad in the morning. She doesn't have a work phone. All of her communications are done on her personal cell. She rarely goes out. She's a homebody. The only work events off hours are big parties which I attend with her. They would have lunch breaks together. It's a hospital though, so it's not private. Her everyday actions and her cheating don't match. That's confusing me. I can check the phone bills. I lost my kids. Our entire world was different. She could have died and I wouldn't have noticed until a weird smell was in the house. I recall very little of that time. I don't want to make rash decisions. My wife looked for solace in the arms of another man. My answers were at the bottom of a bottle. We both previously struggled with depression and suicidal thoughts. She was hospitalized for a few days. I was too scared an attempt would fail, otherwise I probably would have done it. We blamed each other for the loss of our children and pushed each other away. Marriage and private counseling are no stranger to us. I ask myself if this is harder to overcome than what we have already conquered. Most couples who lose children do not stay together. I want to believe what she tells me and I can't. Even if I do trust her, she is still a cheater who cheats at the worst possible time. Now the secret is out and it's bad timing. She's been told to lower her stress before she goes into labor early. My son's movements are barely passing the tests the hospital does. She has to go every other day for several hours. I don't know if it's possible to reduce stress right now. My wife has agreed to stay with her parents until she goes into labor. She doesn't go fast, so there is no worry about missing the birth. There is plenty of warning. Her previous 4 labors have been the exact same. Day 1 to 4 minutes apart. Day 2 to 3 minutes apart. Day 3 to 2 minutes apart. Day 4 to 1 minute apart. Day 5, 30 seconds apart, water breaks and immediately pushing for 2 or 3 hours. It'll be 100 hours of hell. What do doctors do to speed it up? None of the previous labors have been sped up. She gets told to go home because it's false labor and will stop or slow down, which it does not. Then instructed to go back when they are 30 seconds apart for an hour. I would like to show up at that point, but unfortunately, I cannot be that mean. Plus, her dad would likely murder me if it's my son. The picture. A few months ago, my wife uploaded old pictures from old phones and hard drives to the Amazon photo drive for safekeeping. The pictures are sorted by date taken and the date is listed. Her second tattoo was done 7 years ago and it's not on her body in the picture. I did try to find the location, but there was no info listed. That specific picture, it's possible that she didn't know it was taken. He is the guy in the picture. The sleeve tattoo that is visible is the same as what I found on his Facebook today. My Pi friend said to give him all of her current and old devices and he can pull off whatever was deleted and recoverable very quickly. He owes me a favor and he's going to help me out with whatever I need. The guy, I have met him many times in passing. He was allegedly divorced at the time and married now. Allegedly, they don't talk about the affair. She doesn't know where he lives now because he allegedly moved. Allegedly, the guy deleted the pictures he had and my wife hates him potentially having them. Allegedly, she doesn't see him outside of work and asked him to not sit with her at lunch. I'm going to call him and ask for information. My wife said he'd have the same story and that makes me think they collaborated. I found the guy's Facebook page and he is clearly married with kids. His wife's profile is linked to his. The affair. The first 3 months involved frequent bonding. The final 3 or 4 months slowed down until she ended it. They had slept together at his condo, which at the time was a block away from the hospital. Allegedly, he moved several years ago. She needed an escape from reality and to pretend she was living a different life. Allegedly, she didn't want him to take pictures. They didn't use condoms, and allegedly she tested negative for STDs. They work on a team working with many of the same patients. If she thinks of something that will help a patient, she will text him and they bounce ideas off of each other. Allegedly, their texts are work-related. She didn't quit her job because her employer was understanding of the tragedy we were going through. Later, she was scared I would figure out that she cheated if she quit her job because it would have been fishy. She felt like having to work with him was punishment for what she did. She allegedly doesn't think about sleeping with him and doesn't have feelings for him. She claims guilt has soured every good moment we've had. Allegedly, she has been scared that I'd find out one day. Allegedly, she is scared when I want to talk about something or am in an off mood. Allegedly, she was told by the therapist to keep her guilt to herself because the affair was over and it wasn't fair to put her guilt onto me. She was told to find a new job and end contact. She did not do that. The therapist, my wife, allegedly forgets his name. I will have to try and find it. Her parents, I told her to call her mom or dad in front of me and tell them what she did and that she's going to stay with them for now. I didn't trust her not to tell them a different story. She wasn't happy about telling them and begged me not to make her do that. Her cell. In their call history, there are about 3 calls a month lasting 1 to 5 minutes. Their texts are work-related. Data use on her phone is the same as it has always been. She sent 180 to 200 texts a month total, about 30 to this guy. There are no weird apps on her phone. I've always had full access to her phone. Since going on leave, she has texted him twice and no calls. He could be at my house while I work for all I know. She has also texted 2 other colleagues. DNA testing. I ordered 3 tests and I can do those. The results are fast. My wife is upset that I want a DNA test, but she says she knows they are my children. Polygraph. I just asked her if she would do one and she said no because she doesn't know if they are reliable or give false results. 1. She doesn't want to do a polygraph. 2. She looked scared when I said I'd call the guy. 3. She said he'd have the same story as her. 4. She claims to forget the name of the therapist who told her not to tell me. 5. He used to live very close to their workplace and that's where they had slept together, but allegedly, he moved and she has no idea where. They have 1-hour lunch breaks and could easily go to his condo if she's lying about him moving. 6. He's married with kids. 7. The sleeve tattoo is the same as what is in his Facebook pictures. He is the guy in the picture. I think she's lying to me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to know if the new baby is mine. She hasn't done that yet, but it hasn't even been 2 weeks. Her story has stayed the same so far. Do cheaters usually lie about using condoms? She said they didn't use them without me asking. That worries me for what she is lying about and going to trickle out later. The idea is to tell her to do a polygraph and expect a confession before actually doing it. My pie friend said no one will do it on a pregnant woman. My daughters were 1 and 3 when they passed away. They were 6 weeks apart and unrelated to each other. Neither of us were at blame for their passing. We blamed each other because grief needed answers and reason. I started drinking days after our first daughter passed away. If my wife's timeline is truthful, it was 3 months of drinking before she started her affair. I was drinking for 12 months. Haven't touched it since. I likely wouldn't have thought twice about her taking a new job at the time. It was the job placement she wanted, but at the time I doubt I would have thought anything of it. I really do not like talking about any of that. I have never cheated on my wife, not in the slightest. I wanted to shut the world out and be left alone. My wife wanted to go to me for comfort. I had not 1 iota to give. I pushed her away and blamed her for us losing our children. I don't remember very much of that year. I wasn't there when our second daughter was dying because I couldn't handle anymore. I was drunk for both of the funerals and there was a scene. My wife frequently woke up to me passed out in my own vomit, then decided if she'd take me to the hospital or leave me there for the day and check every once in a while to see if I was breathing. She forgave me for checking out for a year. Is it supposed to be comparable to an affair? We went through 2 years of marriage counseling. My portion of our problems were laid out, but she left out a big one of hers. She is staying with her parents for a while. She went there today. She told them that she had an affair for 6 or 7 months. That it ended, but it was with someone she works with, and I found out because I saw an old intimate picture. She said she needs to give me space right now. Her mom asked if she was okay and said they'd talk about it when she got there. I'm not proud of the way I acted. I don't talk about it because it's humiliating. I regret answering a question about it. I could tell you many stories from that year that paint me in a bad light. The majority of the year I don't remember. What I do recall isn't good. I could drink a bottle a night so that I'd be out the next day and repeat. My wife admitted to not caring if I was dead when she checked to see if I was breathing. I know that I made mistakes, but I didn't sleep with someone else. I stopped drinking and haven't picked it back up. She may still be in an affair. We did marriage counseling for 2 years. I own my mistakes. My wife hid hers. I could say we were both wrong, but I owned up. She didn't. I don't know how to forgive her. How do I trust someone who lied for so long? How do I forgive her for sleeping with another man during that time? I don't know how much truth she has given me. My wife claims she didn't intentionally keep the picture and didn't know it was there. She thought she deleted them all after he took them. The best way I can G-rated explain the picture is she was butt up. A man's hand was on her rear and the other hand was likely holding the phone at his chest. It's possible she didn't know the picture was taken. She would have seen it later though since it was her device, not the other guy's. My friend found some pictures and videos from the same time period. I didn't think I'd ever say my friend has my wife's porn. I want to know the likelihood of the new baby being mine. It feels like 0%. Nothing has been found indicating the affair is current. She works with him though, so why bother texting or calling? They had all day together 5 days a week. The guy did move. My wife was telling the truth about that. He married his current wife 3 years ago. I don't know what to think. I have no proof the affair was ongoing, but even so it feels like 0%. The affair may have stopped when she claims, or she could have kept hooking up with him 5 lunch breaks a week. She said she didn't quit her job because she was scared. I would be suspicious. Claimed it was uncomfortable, but she felt it was punishment for cheating. I don't know how I'm doing. I can't say I'm fine. Nothing compares to losing children. In comparison, this is like a stubbed toe. It hurts but I'll live. My kids don't know what's going on. The texting, she said it made her nervous and uncomfortable. If she's driving and she gets a text, I check her phone. I frequently text for her. She claims she thought it would be obvious if she didn't ask me to text him or let me see her phone. I'm managing. I'm not drinking and I'm not going to. My kids are easy to handle. My parents live nearby if I need them. My kids will go to my in-laws with my wife on Monday for a few days, then switch back. They frequently spend time with grandparents, so it's normal for them. I haven't talked to her. Her dad is retired and with her all day, so she's okay. She's going to the hospital today for tests, and her mom said she would update me on it. I expect her parents to stand by her, as they should. Her dad would bend over backwards for her, no questions asked. They will hold her accountable but be supportive. They have in the past for her choices they didn't agree with. Despite what she did, she does need support right now being pregnant. I didn't tell her to go there to be punished. I need space and she needs support. Her dad called me to talk about it. He won't be shocked if we divorce. He knows her side of the story and doesn't agree with her choices or what she is blaming. She can work in schools, hospitals, and private clinics. Her career is in demand. She could have found a new job. The position she has is what she wanted and it is hard to come by. She works with TBIs mostly. She could have taken a different position though. Giving up her dream job and taking a slight pay cut could be the punishment. I don't think she knows how disrespectful it is. She didn't seem to get it. Her dad said the same. Yes, I gave him her current phone. She left all of her devices here when I told her to. What is a burner phone? She said he had pictures too but claims to have deleted them when she asked him to. I didn't ask how he got them. I assume he took some with his phone. The guy still having pictures and videos may be the worst part for me. I have pictures of my wife but no one else should. I was the only guy she had been with. It should have stayed that way. I didn't look at the other pictures found. I don't need to see that. My friend said what they were. Should I call his wife even though he wasn't married to her at the alleged time? I have her number. I don't know what I'm going to do. What is holding me back from wanting a divorce is that we've conquered worse and came back stronger. We were happy until this came out. The DNA tests will be here on Monday. I could have the results by the end of next week. Paying extra for rushed results is worth it to me. I want to know before my wife goes into labor. The new baby can be done after he's born. I will have to work myself up to seeing a lawyer. That feels final. I have already lost my family once and rebuilt. I'm not sure I want to do it again. I don't know what I will do. In the overall picture, the top sign of cheating is hiding, guarding the phone. In the case of a spouse who has full access to the phone and a cheater who works closely with the affair partner, the cheater might get a burner phone or just not contact outside of work. But that would be extremely unlikely. One of the other would get emotionally attached and would need that contact outside of work. The second sign of cheating is behavior: cold, distant, less affectionate, or no affection at all, getting annoyed by everything you say or do. There are exceptions, but they are rare. From what you've posted, neither of those signs have occurred for some number of years. What people lie to about the affair is the things they believe would hurt keeping what they want: marriage. So, what could your wife be lying about? 1. The length of the affair, especially if the affair started before your first child passed. 2. I have heard many times about women who cheated who got pregnant and aborted and the husband never knew. 3. The bonding itself being of a nature that would find you especially abhorrent to you, fetish stuff possibly. 4. Obviously her not knowing the name of the therapist is a red flag. Not wanting a polygraph is normal, but most cheaters will do it if it's that or losing the marriage. It's embarrassing, like getting tested for STDs to tell the doctor why, to tell the parents what happened, or going into a polygrapher's office about your affair. What you should do is find out the name of the therapist, you must have paid him, and call the affair partner and get his story. How long the affair was there a pregnancy scare, etc. Call the guy without telling your wife about it. And DNA your kids. I personally would leave your wife out of all of it for now. Wait a few weeks until the baby is born to deal with her. Your main goal should be to determine if your wife is now being honest with you. If she is, time will tell if you can forgive her and move forward together with her. If she is not telling the truth, or even if you feel that she is being dishonest and can't prove it one way or the other, I doubt you will be able to ever be happy staying with her. If the affair started before our daughters passed away, I would never ever be able to forgive that. The idea of it angers me. Women get pregnant and abort to hide it. Seriously, she has had one abortion, but it was medically necessary. She was distraught about it. Now I want to ask her if she was ever pregnant by him, but I don't want to talk to her. That would be enough for me to know for sure that I want a divorce. Even a pregnancy scare is pushing it. One of my children was conceived with birth control. I know it can fail. I don't care what physical acts she did with the guy. Our physical life is varied and good. Anything either of us have wanted to try, we have. If we had a bad physical life, perhaps, I'd be more interested in what she did with him. If I decide to polygraph my PI friend knows people who do it. I'm tempted to tell her to do it just to get a confession out of her. If it's an ultimatum, I think she would do it. My wife threw the guy under the bus quickly. He's been with other married women. I'd be nice if his wife made him quit his job so I don't have to deal with it. If I see a lawyer that doesn't get back to my wife, does it. Only if I file. I won't take drastic action while my WW is pregnant. I need space, but that's about it. I'm not going to yell at her, kick her out, or demand a divorce right now. She chose to go to her parents. We didn't fight about it. I would like to ask her some more questions, but I'm torn between not wanting to stress her out and wanting to get it out of the way before the baby comes. The week of labor and after delivery won't be the time to talk about anything. She has physically and emotionally rough recoveries, so I don't know when the pregnancy card no longer applies. If I inform my WW, she will be humiliated that my friend has seen those pictures and videos. Sorry, but that's the price to pay. I probably won't even tell her. He doesn't have copies saved for personal use. I'm angrier about the pictures than anything else. My WW prided herself on me being the only guy she had been intimate with and the only guy who had seen her naked. She distinguished between those facts. Both of those are now untrue, and she let the OM have pictures and video to go back and look again and again. Now the OM can look at her whenever he wants or share them with anyone. They go work together and he needs no imagination to know what is under the scrubs. My father-in-law would probably X me if I shared the pictures. I didn't know what would be found. My WW is the one who put them there. Her excuse is the other therapist told her not to say anything, and if she said anything, I would have divorced her, walked away without kids, and she couldn't lose anyone else. We each had an individual therapist and marriage counselor, 3 altogether. All of the texts were work-related and there was none from the affair time period. The pictures were found on an old device. We upgrade every 2 years. My friend said some of the data may be gone for good. It's not revenge. I didn't send out her pictures for revenge. A licensed PI found them while doing his job, on devices she left in my possession. I have trouble believing it was only bonding and no emotion. She couldn't have shown up at work one day and jumped his bones. I want to ask her when, how and why it started and ended in detail. Does the emotional foreplay usually last weeks or months? My WW claims the OM deleted the pictures, but either of them could be lying. If he sleeps with married women and grieving women, sharing intimate pictures is probably up his alley. Many people seeing my WW naked makes her significantly more unattractive and undesirable to me now. My comment: I believe I would divorce. The pain of this would not be surmountable if my cheating spouse stayed actively in my daily life as my supposed intimate partner. Right now, you have no good choices. Try to determine what the least bad choice is for you. DNA your kids. Polygraph your WW. Expose the OM, insists she. Finally, find another job. I would take all these steps for the sake of justice. Then I would divorce. This is a heartbreaking circumstance. OP responds: I want something that will give me hope that all of my deceased, living and in utero children are mine. I can DNA test 2 of my daughters. When my WW goes into labor, I want to have some hope that baby is mine. I don't know how I'm going to help her through labor and delivery if I'm doubting if my son is mine. I will forever wonder about the paternity of the daughters I lost. Aside from exhuming their remains, there is no way to ever know if those were my children. I need something to give me hope. I want to trust my wife and I can't. I don't trust my WW and want verification that she is telling me the truth. I don't know what to think. There are no clear signs of her having a current affair. She kept working with the OM and hid a big lie from me. She doesn't want to do a polygraph. I don't know what to trust. I have a friend who is a PI. Hiring a PI was mentioned and my PI friend was happy to assist. He suggested letting him look rather than telling me what to do. I'm glad he made that suggestion. I have no desire to see pictures or videos of my wife with some other guy. Evidence was found, but it was from the time period my WW claims the affair took place. I wanted info without having to talk to my WW. That was for my benefit and hers. I don't want to cause her more stress right now, but I also need to make sense of what is going on. What has been dug up so far confirms her story and other facts, or at least doesn't disprove it. I expected to find current pictures, text, or emails indicating the affair is ongoing and found no such evidence. Would it be a bad idea to send her a list of questions to answer? Is there any reason not to do that? I don't want the dirty details, but I want the overall picture. Did she love him? Did she ever get pregnant by him and have an abortion? Did she ever have a pregnancy scare? Did she have feelings for him before sleeping with him? Have they ever hooked up since ending the affair? Do they flirt at work? Some answers would be too much for me to accept. We started marriage counseling just over a year after losing our daughters. We went for 2 consecutive years, once a week for 6 months, every other week for 6 months, once a month for a year. We alternate between my parents' church and my in-laws' church, PC and LDS, but don't attend often. Me and my wife are not very religious. Why is it unlikely to have a boy after 5 girls, 1 pregnancy loss? It is not 50/50 each time. I'll have the DNA tests tomorrow. I'm going to do them before I take my kids to my in-laws' house for a few days. I am alternating every 3 days for now. I sent my wife some questions. Mostly yes, no questions. I didn't want filler garbage, just yes or no. She gave me a timeline. I don't know what to believe or think. I have to give it some thought. This isn't how I wanted to welcome our last baby into the world. She is in denial. My in-laws' LDS church gave her 2 books to read. She doesn't want to do it and cries about it. My father-in-law is trying to help her see that it was wrong and infidelity before her clothes came off and after she stopped taking them off. She wants stability before the baby comes and wants our marriage back where it was. She answered the questions with her dad there and was humiliated. She did answer them all. She met him Jan 9 and was attracted to him. They started flirting around October 9th but swears no physical contact. We lost our daughters in February and March 10. She went back to work May 10. He knew what was going on in our home, talked and confided in him for 2 weeks. In a private moment at work, he kissed her and touched her. Kept doing that. Few days later she slept with him. Every day for 3 months. Birth control but no condoms. Had a false pregnancy scare, realized what she was doing. Stopped the affair. Bonding tapered off over 3 or 4 months. Caught an STD and stopped completely after that. Lost feelings. Hasn't had slept with him since. Doesn't flirt with him. He kept trying to kiss her and touch her for a year or 2. She claims to have stopped it. He still comments on her body and the affair. Most of the bonding was at his condo. Sometimes in their office and in their cars. She thought she loved him and they talked about a future together before she claims to have snapped out of it. She doesn't want to be labeled a cheater. My comment, with the way this woman behaved, is it any wonder he turned to alcohol? It's not like he had a partner in the marriage with him. Still he got himself together for her, after a year. Imagine being her father sitting there and hearing that story. I agree she is still lying but not sure it matters. It's not like he will have the full truth anyway. She doesn't even think she cheated. Seriously OP, there is a better life out there for you. Have you talked to a lawyer yet? Her not wanting to be labeled a cheater shows her total lack of remorse. I also find it disgusting that she had the gall to blame her affair on being depressed over the passing of her children and your drinking when she was already cheating before that all happened. Does she not have any shame for tarnishing their memory? She was attracted to OM from the minute she started working there in January. The EA started in October. Does anyone here really believe that a woman that's attracted to a guy she works closely with every day is going to wait that long? Nope. That's why piece of crap knew everything that was going on in your marriage when she was on leave from work. He was already her boyfriend by then. She wants to make it seem as though she stopped the affair when you started marriage counseling, but that just doesn't pass the smell test. Why would OM stop? He was emboldened by the fact that she stayed working there. That was a signal for him to continue. I could just see the feigned rejection with her saying stop while she's giggling all the while this guy's feeling her up. So even if they stopped the bonding after the STD, I'm sure she pretty much continued what many would consider an EA.